The American truck scene is stacked with talent, no question about it. But there's always been this one gap, a weird blind spot, where one of the world's most respected pickups simply never showed up. The Toyota Hilux, the truck that's built a reputation everywhere else, yet somehow skipped the biggest stage of them all. It never really made sense. Sure, there were platform conflicts, regulatory hurdles, and the Tacoma comfortably holding the fort. But none of that fully explains why a nameplate known for shrugging off decades of abuse couldn't find a corner of the US market to call home. Anyone who's driven a Hilux abroad knows exactly how much potential it's been sitting on. Now the tides are changing. Toyota's quietly putting the pieces together for something that seemed impossible even a few years back. The all-new 2027 Hilux is deep in development, and the early reports indicate the upcoming changes will help it adapt more easily to the US market. Looks like Toyota's finally ready to make its move. Let's see where this is heading. Join us as we explore the world of wheels. Subscribe now and buckle up for the adventure. American-approved redesign. The Hilux has been rocking the same overall vibe for years. Even the biggest fans will admit it's been overdue for a serious glow-up. Toyota seems fully aware of that. The next-gen redesign isn't just a cosmetic cleanup. It's a strategic shift to make the truck feel at home on US soil. The front end is the first giveaway. The old, rounded look that worked overseas starts to feel a bit soft next to bolder mid-size pickups here. So Toyota's pushing the Hilux in a tougher direction. Expect a wider stance and a grille that actually looks like it belongs in 2027. The interior is where the biggest leap happens. Anyone who's sat in the current model knows it's functional enough, but it's not exactly ready for US showrooms. Toyota's answering that with a full tech overhaul. A digital gauge cluster becomes standard, the center display stretches out to 12 inches, and the whole interface finally feels like the same design language you'd see in a new Tacoma. All of these point to Toyota's real intention. This isn't a half-step refresh or a quick update to keep up appearances. It's a calculated redesign meant to bridge the gap between what the Hilux has always been and what US buyers expect. Solutions for engine room. If there's one thing that defines the truck through decades and across continents, it's the diesel powertrain. But that's exactly why the engine lineup is going to be one of the toughest obstacles for the 2027 Hilux to land in the US. Right now, the pickup offers strong diesel configurations globally. The base unit is a 2.4-liter four-cylinder, delivering around 150 horsepower. For most heavy-duty applications, there's the 2.8-liter turbo diesel with 201 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. Those numbers matter because what oil burner offers, low-end grunt, long-haul reliability, predictable performance under load or off-road, is core to what Hilux means to millions around the world. It isn't about flashy acceleration or hybrid eco-credentials. It's about rugged utility that lasts. Here's where the friction comes. Launching a diesel-powered Hilux in the US would bump into emissions regulations, fuel standards, market expectations, and maybe even consumer bias. Over here, many trucks run on petrol or hybrid, and oil burners have a love-it-or-hate-it reputation. A diesel Hilux would likely require heavy re-engineering to meet US environmental and safety rules, which might push costs up, or force compromises on what made it great in the first place. Taking diesel out of the equation would probably strip the Hilux of what a lot of buyers abroad call its soul. Sure, a hybrid or petrol version might broaden appeal, but for hardcore truckers, those who tow, haul, drive long distances, that torque and durability of an oil burner are non-negotiable. 2027 Toyota Hilux Champ. Every so often, a vehicle comes along that makes you stop and say, "Huh, that's different." The Hilux Champ is one of those rare cases. It's tiny by mid-size pickup standards, and its price tag in international showrooms hovering between $20,000 and $25,000 makes it feel almost rebellious in today's bloated markets. But the Champ isn't trying to compete with Tacomas or Rangers. It's its own thing, a simple, modular pickup that can be whatever the owner needs it to be. A city hauler, a mobile workshop, an off-road adventure rig, whatever fits the job or lifestyle. That kind of flexibility is almost unheard of in the US, where most trucks are big, overloaded, and designed to sell a specific image. What makes the Champ really fascinating is how it blends purpose with potential. It's small, but not weak. Its chassis-based design means it can handle work that normally demands a bigger, heavier pickup. Yet its footprint keeps it nimble, fuel-friendly, and surprisingly approachable for everyday drivers. Would it work in the US? That's the million-dollar question. American truckers are used to bigger, tech-laden pickups, and the idea of a compact stripped-down Hilux might seem almost too simple. But for anyone tired of cookie-cutter pickups, it's a glimpse of a different kind of truck life, one that doesn't compromise on toughness, even in a smaller package. Release date and price. No one's putting a pin in the calendar yet, but the clues are stacking up. The 2027 Hilux is shaping up with changes that suggest Toyota is finally serious about sending it overseas. If that happens, it would be the biggest arrival on US shores since Columbus. Pricing is a key factor. If it's positioned right, the Hilux could take over the market, even in a smaller, stripped-down Champ form. Think of it as a truck that doesn't have to be the biggest or flashiest to make the biggest splash. With Toyota's reputation behind it, even a humble Hilux could become a go-to choice for buyers who want reliability, toughness, and flexibility all in one package. Thank you for watching. We look forward to seeing you next time.